Hey, real estate agents, welcome to the Weekly Closer. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Sampaga. And today's episode, we've got a real estate agent with us, a real estate professional that is going to talk referrals. He's going to talk about a showing partner model that he's put together, and he's going to also share how he's gone on 17 vacations over the past year. Yeah, you heard me right. We've got Chris Bowers, the Bowers team with eXp Realty in the house. Welcome back, Chris.
What's up, man? Yeah, I think this is the second or third time. Yeah. So thanks for having me back.
I think the third time, yeah, because one time you talked about your rental model or your rental properties in Oklahoma, I think, building up that. And then another time you came back and I think talked more about business, like creating your business and getting your business ready for the next year. So anyway.
Yeah, and a new market. Here we are. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Like every single time I come on, we're in a different market.
Something new.
It's like, oh, there's no inventory on the market. Now there's like, oh, there's a lot of inventory in the market. Seasons come, seasons go. We still got to sell a lot of real estate.
Ebbs and flows.
Absolutely. We'll take just a couple minutes and share how long you've been in real estate and what got you into the business.
17 years in the business, I think, going on 18, if I'm not mistaken, but a long time. Been doing real estate since I was 22, sold over 100 homes this year. Do it a little bit differently, a little unconventional than probably most, just based on wanting to have like some free time, a personal life, and still crush it. And yeah, so 17 years in the business. It's been the funnest thing ever. It's afforded me to buy rental properties that I really enjoy. That's my passion. I always say I'm good at selling real estate. My passion's buying it. And then I also now really like teaching agents how to do both of those. That's probably my backstory.
Got it. So over the past year, you went on one vacation for every year that you've been in business.
That's it. So next year I got to do more. Yeah. So we've been on 17 vacations this year. I think we have 3 more planned.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool, man. Like I talked to somebody probably about a year and a half ago and was telling them what he was asking me questions. I actually called this person. I was referred to this person to talk to him. And that's just my friend's network. This is how we work, try to help each other out. And I said, he's asking me some questions and he's like, what do you like about your job? And I told him, and he said, what do you like about life? And I told him, he said, have you compromised one for the other? And I said, almost my whole career, I've compromised one for the other. It was like, business was doing really good. Personal life didn't get to take the vacations, or, I was getting chunky and not working out or eating right. Or it was vice versa. Right. And I think we all go through those stages of life where like one cylinder's running well and the other one's not. He said, how about we challenge this thought process and stop acting like we have to compromise one goal for the other, and let's figure out how to structure this correctly where you can win on both ends. I took that conversation seriously. I was in Huntington Beach when I had this conversation with this gentleman, and I walked back into the restaurant with my wife, and we talked about that conversation and how I look at conversations and moments in life as pivotal moments, and I never forget them. And that was one of them. So I just came back home, had to meet up with a few new people and figure out how to pull it off. And we did it quite well. And I don't think I'll ever go back, no matter what goes on in any market. It's just my new standard of business.
Got it.
So this person you were talking to was not a coach. It's just someone you met.
No, I actually met him in a mastermind. He was what we'd call the facilitator. So a super smart guy, right? And he doesn't have a cell phone, hasn't for like 3 years. So I've always talked to him from that angle. It's like, how fascinating to he runs a huge company and doesn't have a cell phone. So like just somebody who is willing to go against the grain of how everything works. Like we think we have to do things such a certain way. So I would talk to him in that format of like, hey, how do you pull that off? And then it was just, hey, do it one day, do it 2 days, and then forever. And I was like, cool, I want to know this guy more because he's just willing to challenge the norm of that we have to just give our lives to our companies. And so I knew him. And then finally I was talking to one of his friends and he's like, hey, just jump on a call and have a deeper call with him. And I did. Yeah. So he's not a coach. I mean, I didn't pay him for the call. He's just one of my friends' friends. And he asked cool questions. I can realize why he's so well networked. And from there, I mean, we still have a communication line that we have right now where I talk to him here and there. But yeah, I'll remember that call forever. He actually emailed me back. He said, what I heard is that you love doing this stuff in your business and you love taking vacations and being able to work anywhere. And so we realized when we came back home, I was like, okay, I was like, I just need boots on the ground, meaning I like working, but I like different scenery. So I want to be in Tennessee, 1 week. I want to be in Huntington Beach the next week. I want to go visit my parents in Oklahoma. And I realized that like what we usually do is we say, oh, I can't have a big business if I want to do all that, because how is that going to work? So I was willing to take the challenge. And I said, really, all I need is I need boots on the ground, right? It's like there's boots on the ground, things got to get done. Like that's got to be a local person, but I can still do consultations, phone calls, Zoom meetings anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I was wanting to do the 4 and 5 hours of work a day. I just wanted, when I was done with work, to walk out, see a different scenery, whether it's the beach or the mountain or whatever, the snow, and still run a life where I could do those parallel or do them at the same time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So does he have a phone on the wall with a cord?
No, but if you email him, you'll get an email about 14 days later. That's how he runs his life. But what's crazy is he's running it at such a super successful way that it makes me challenge how we're running it or how I'm running it. Meaning he's getting further and further ahead by getting more and more disconnected from that. And I actually am wondering, is that actually the path? Do we think that like doing certain things every day is what gets us there, or could we be doing it differently and get further if we weren't so distracted?
Yeah, I can't even imagine running a business without a cell phone.
He just gets on a Zoom call at 9 a.m. every morning. Fires come at that time, get him for an hour. We deal with all the fires here. The rest of his day, he's going to go live his life. Next day at 9 a.m., he gets on, we deal with the fires. It's just getting away from that whole reactionary day of I've got to solve problems all day. Yeah. It's like, hey, he's not running from it. He's just saying, hey, for 1 hour of my day, I'm going to deal with this stuff. And for the rest of my day, I'm either going to go deal with what I want to do for the company to grow it and be a visionary. And I'm also going to enjoy my life, be with my family, go on trips, things like that. So it's not I think it's a format of structuring it. Mm-hmm. And I think if you just always, I don't think you go to that. I don't think you go from 0 to 100 overnight, but I think you can go from 0 to 5 to 10 to 12 to 16. If you just keep on this journey of trying it, I think you get addicted to it. Kind of like the showing partner model. Like that's how we did the vacations and still close the houses. It was a little bit leverage, and then it got more leverage, and then we really built a system around it, and it works well. And I just now will say like that's probably my standard of running a company now. Whether we were doing 50 transactions or 400, that's the way I'm going to run it. And I think it runs solid. And you get your life back, and it's super cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'd love
I was going to ask you then to go over the structure, your business model, as far as I know you have the showing partner model, but like an overview of how you've set up your business to be able to do this, work from anywhere, basically.
Yeah. So that was happening when I met this guy. I was having this challenge in business. And so I was willing to talk about it. He asked questions that I helped self-discover what I needed to do. And then also I had a business coach that was also talking to me. It all happened at the right time. I always say there's God times in life, right? Like that God's always in my life, but like that was a time that's very pivotal that I remember. And I had a business coach that was also like, hey, you're giving away like $700,000 in commissions to buyer's agents. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at the cost to sell on the P&L, and he's like, how could you structure things differently? And so it was kind of a time in life where I wanted a little bit more free time. And then also on the P&L, like I realized business was coming through, but so much money was going out cost to sell. Nothing wrong. I was still making good coin and no one was going to cry for me. But as a CEO, I was able to look at that and say, what do we need to do? My coach challenged me, figure out how we could keep more of the dollars to the company. Mm-hmm. And so those two, that conversation there and that coach call with my P&L kind of mirrored all at the same time in my life. And then we just had to put a plan together. So what's interesting is God works perfectly, because those two were mirroring that conversation with that gentleman. And then my coach talking to me about my P&L in a deeper level. And then all of a sudden I was at the gym one morning and I had several buyers that I had to show that night. And I remember this so like vividly, because it's like, I remember that day I was in the gym mountainside and I had several buyers at a show that evening. And I was listening to a podcast, a real estate podcast. And there was this guy by the name of Dave Zazinski. And he was talking about this. He has 5 kids. He has a wife, and he sells more real estate than I do. And he ran this model. And I was like, whoa. So like it all came at the right time. Well, at the end of that podcast, he had talked about his model, and I actually hit him up. So I texted him because he left his number. I went to his office the next day, and that guy's forever changed my life. Not only did I he helped me build that model because he had it. So I just duplicated it. And then now, not only did I duplicate that, but now I have his ISA model that actually calls my leads every day. So I just realized if I would have never have met him, I don't think I would be where I'm at in my career now. And so what's cool is I'm actually helping others kind of do that same thing so that they can have that free time in their life. But how the showing partner model works specifically, that's how I got introduced to it, was through him being on a podcast, called him, willing to fail forward quickly. But how that looked was I put out a Wise Hire ad and I said, hey, who wants to go show homes for a salary? A salary and a commission through title. And you'll realize like you put that ad out there and I think I had like 250 applicants in a week.
Wow.
And so you realize like there's a lot of people who love like the HD TV, like looking at homes, but like they don't want to go get the clientele. They don't want to lead generate. They don't want to spend marketing dollars. They don't want to cover the expenses. They just want to go show homes. Like, this is a cool house. I want to show it to you. So many of those people. Well, the two that made the cut weren't licensed. And I didn't stop there. One was like a 22-year-old just graduated from NAU. And one was coming out of the military in New York. He was coming back to Arizona and wanted to do real estate. And so I got both them licensed. And then we just, got both them licensed on a salary and then paid them a salary and then said, hey, at the closings, we're going to give you 10%. And then for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, they just went with me to show houses. And here's how you use a lockbox. This is how you let them in. You walk around, you give them the MLS sheet. I mean, you're not selling the house. They got to want it. And just kind of did that. Then I actually had I paid 2 of my clients that are really close to me to go like kind of do what I would call simulation. So I let them do it first on these 2 people. So I paid my 2 clients and we went around. So I said, hey, pick 6 homes and they're going to coordinate them in the MLS, have the MLS sheets. And I'm just going to be in the car with the agent and get out, but they're going to take full control on showing this house. Afterwards, I asked both those clients, would have you felt comfortable if those people had showed you homes? These are my dear clients, right? And they're like, yeah, I don't see a problem with it. And then from there, how we structured it was, okay, you're good to go. And so now how it looks is when we first started, it was, referral comes into my office or someone wants to buy a house and I schedule the Zoom call like I always would have, consultation in my office or a Zoom call. And so now I go through the same exact process to the buyer consultation with my clients, except for when I get to the showing of homes, I changed it up. So when a client meets me on Zoom or in person, we're going through, hey, let's get you qualified for a loan. Let's get you set up on a search. What are you qualified for? Have you talked to a lender? But when we get to that, hey, I'm going to set up a search for you. Like I have Nathan, my showing partner, on the Zoom or in person. So when we get to that section, I say, hey, here's what's going to happen is this portal is going to be set up for you today. And when we leave here, I'm going to group text all of us. Anytime you want to see a house, group text. Nathan's going to be showing you homes. He's my showing partner. He's full-time ready to show you homes. And so when you see a house that you like in the morning, whether you send us the MLS number, whether you group text the address or just screenshot it from your phone, send it in. Nathan knows exactly what to do. He's going to ask you when you want to go. He's going to line it up with the homeowner or the realtor. And then that's how it's going to work. And then we go to the next section and that's all the other things. But that one section now, instead of it being, hey, I'll just text me, I just integrate that that's my showing partner. This is their role for me. And when we leave, I'll group text all of us. And that's what happens when they leave the consultation. I send a group text and I'm like, hey, Nick, it was really nice meeting you. I've attached Nathan, my showing partner, in this. Your portal is going to be set up here shortly. When you want to go look at houses, just group text us and we'll get those lined up. And so I see group text all day come in from clients. And as those come in, Nathan knows what his role is. And like, he knows to schedule things and I don't even get involved. And they'll ask some questions sometimes in that group text. That's me. Nathan knows, hey, that's a Chris question. I just chime in and I'm good. But that's how like the initial consultation works, where I just, basically tell them that I have somebody who shows homes for me. I mean, there's a lot more systems after the fact if you want to go over, just so people understand it from probably beginning to end. But that's how that consultation looks on. Now I think now people can envision like, oh, like I could do that Zoom out of town, right?
Yep.
Or they could see like, oh, in a week, if he's still looking at homes and he's not under contract and you had a vacation plan, you still have boots on the ground. And so that really opens up people's mind to that there's people that can assist you in life that can help you accomplish a mission that you want. Like the buyer wants to buy a house. You as the realtor want to help them close that house, right? Yep. You want to be their realtor. And you still want to have a little bit of free time. And the only way to have 100+ clients a year and still have a really cool life is to figure out that you've got to give just a few pieces away. And that's the easiest one to give away, is actually showing the homes. And showing the homes is probably 90% of the work in the buyer transaction.
That's right.
So it's 90% of the work that you're giving to somebody, but you're still keeping so much of the commissions. So it's like, it's much better than that 50-50 model that most teams have always ran, because they were just giving buyers away to their team members and really not doing probably anything on that transaction. I always was trying to figure out how can I keep that transaction still under my name and not pay so much in the cost of sale. And what it's also did is now I'm staying involved in the high level conversations where when those people come back, they're not coming back to a team member, or if a team member left, they're not going back to them. They're still attached to me for all those heavy hitter conversations. Mm-hmm. I'm not showing homes. And the first objection I get when I teach this class is, well, Chris, I work with a lot of friends and family and people that love me. And I'm like, I think 90% of my business, I think, is past clients, friends, and family. They love it, appreciate, and respect it. Like if you can speak confidently about your system, I mean, I tell them in the consultation, like this is the guy, like he's the dude who's going to open the door for you. He knows how to open doors better than I do. Like he knows how to use lock boxes better than I do. Like we overestimate what there is about showing a home. I mean, you're showing up at a certain time, letting them look at the house. If there was something that I had to do in that showing to get them to buy the house, maybe I'd have to be there. But I've always found in looking at houses that I'm getting you into the house. That's not really the huge skill set. Mm-hmm. You know, you finding the house that you love is you finding the house that you love. I'm letting you in. My conversations that are high level are negotiations. What can we get the house for in this market? How are we going to get closing costs? How are we going to do a 2-1 buy down? Mm-hmm. You loving your house and getting into it's up to you and Nathan. I'm getting on the phone and dialing this down and getting you your house.
Okay. So once they do find that house, then is it you who puts together the contract or?
Yeah. So basically, Nathan knows right after he gets done showing a client, he'll text me. Like yesterday, he texted me and said, hey, this client's name, like, hey, they didn't like any of the houses I showed. Cool. I'll call that client real quick. And I'll be like, hey, Josh, I know you went and looked at, I want to stay engaged. Hey, Josh, I know you looked at those 4 homes. You know, I know those didn't work out. Thankfully, we're in a market where there's always more tomorrow. Just look in your portal tomorrow. Let Nathan and I know in that group text and we'll get back at it. Cool, Chris. Thanks a lot. I still stay touched to that, you know? Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to spend the hour driving, the hour back driving, and the hour showing homes. I just stayed involved in the actual, hey, like I know what's going on. Let's get it tomorrow. But Nathan will text me a lot of times and say, hey, they love this house. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, cool. I just get on the phone. I'm like, hey, Josh, I know that you like this house and let's just talk about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull comps for you. Let's see what we can do. So just give me about 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to pull some things up. Do you mind if I call you back and we structure this the best way in this market to get you the best price? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I just pull some comps, do what I always did when I got done showing people homes. I just didn't show the homes and we structure the deal. I then call the client. We talk about the offer, 10-minute conversation. And then I just email Nathan, my showing partner, and say, here's the terms: price, earnest money, closing date, refrigerator, washer, dryer, title company, inspection period, boom. And then he goes into my DocuSign. He writes the contract. He goes into my DocuSign, sends it out to the client. Oh. And then so I don't have to stay involved in that. So I don't have to write the offer. I don't have to put it in DocuSign anymore. And then but he does it in my DocuSign because then it comes back to me. Mm-hmm. So that I just start getting emails back from DocuSign, says contract done. Sure. And then I still submit it, talk to the agent because I think that's a powerful conversation. Talk to the agent, get it accepted. Okay. But that's how it looks. So whether they're looking for 1 day or 14 days or 5 months, mm-hmm. the showings are just attached to him daily. And so he knows, like if we have 7 clients at the time, he just goes in the morning and just texts those clients. If they're not engaging with us a lot, he'll just say like, hey, I looked in the portal and saw that these 2 hit the market, look good. Do you want to go see them? So he's also that one that's re-engaging them on those ones that aren't actively looking. Mm-hmm. They're kind of passively looking. His job is to re-engage them with, hey, here's what's going on. Like, let's go look at these. Where I didn't always have the time to go into the office in the morning and like re-engage those situations or conversations. So
are you open to sharing the salary that you're paying?
I think it's $32,000.
Okay. And then 10% on the
and 10% through title.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like they can actually live a super big life. Like I know when Nathan joined with me, he told me that one of his goals was to buy a house. And I said, dude, I'll have you a house. He just bought his first house. Nice. I'm super stoked on that. I remember just sitting in the office one day with him and him telling me that he was able to accomplish that. And wow. He actually had tears in his eyes. I did too. He actually looked at me and it was just the coolest thing. He looked at me and said, Chris, you've changed my family's like wow. financial future.
That's awesome.
And I said, bro, I want to let you know one thing. You've changed my financial family future. Like we have seasons of life. He's 28. I'm 38. And he's at this like real hungry stage where he's willing to give up like most of his time for money. Mm-hmm. I've been there. And now I'm looking to give some of my money away to have my time. Sure. So I think you've got to mirror these seasons in life. So like he told me, hey, you changed my life. And I'm like, dude, you changed my life. I was a year and a half ago, like not being able to take vacations. Like I was financially secure, emotionally a little broken. And you've brought that pep in my step again, where I can make like a lot of cash. I can still give really good service. I can go, vacation and travel and do what I want to do. And I don't have to be one of those jaded realtors that looks up, I think, at 62 and thinks like, what did I do? Or that just walks out of the business and says, I'd rather retire than keep going. I always want to have a business. I always want to have a real estate business. I just want to keep growing as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm looking at it as I just keep elevating in the company to where I feel I want to be. And whether that makes more money or not, I don't necessarily care. I just want to have a person that I'm happy with internally, like it's an inside job. I want to be happy, still run a really cool business and make that all work. So like when he told me I changed his financial future, I was like, dude, you changed mine, bro. Like we are in this game together.
Yeah.
And I don't think, so he started crying. I started tearing up and it was cool. But
yeah,
I think you don't realize that when I say that salary to people, they go straight to the like, whoa, that's low. And I'm like, start attaching some 10% on some deals and do a lot of deals.
Absolutely.
And you can start making some coin. Like he makes more. I mean, I'd like to say a stat that I knew, but I'm going to just go with it. I'm like, he's probably making more than 80% or 90% of the quote unquote full-time realtors.
Wow.
Like just staying in his lane of I show homes for crisp hours and give awesome customer service to his clients by showing homes.
That's
and
amazing.
I think that if people realize that they would probably do that for themselves. Because I mean, I have many clients that have come back in the last year and a half that are past clients, and I've never seen their home. But I'm telling you, they don't care. Like they're looking for someone to give them awesome customer service, get them that house. I don't think they're worried about do I know what their living room looks like? I mean, I do from the pictures because I had to structure the contract and do comps, but they don't need me to actually be there and see their house and feel it and touch it. It can all be ran through just.
So when did you start the system?
Probably about 16 months ago.
16 months ago. So last year, 2021, how many vacations did you take?
Last year, probably 5.
And this year, 17. And the year's not even over yet.
Nope. We actually probably took too many. There was times where we were going like on back-to-backs where we got a little tired, and we just did it because we wanted to prove something to ourselves, my wife and I. And I don't know if we'll take that many next year because they actually did get a little exhausting, but I was just I'm all in or all out.
Yeah.
So like that was an all in stage where I'm like, first time I could ever do it and still, run a really successful company. And so we did it. I don't know if we'll go that hard next year, but hey, maybe we will. It was, I guess it's cool to know that you can do it.
Yeah.
So what I would challenge, like anybody who thinks they can't do it at that level, because I get it. There's always a starting point where you're like, oh, how do I go from 0 to 100 and incrementally grow? I would just challenge people to find like 3 hardcore things in your life that you won't compromise for money. Like, let's say it's Sunday morning church.
Yeah.
Let's say it's Thursday night date night with your wife. Let's say it's your kid's t-ball game or your football game. Let's start with 3 or 4 things a week that you say, I will not compromise for money. And then anytime a client wants to show a house at that time, find a system for it. And that's maybe just paying an agent like $30 a house or $40 a house. I'm telling you, just test it out on something that you love. And when you test it out and you're like, oh, I went to the t-ball game and those 2 houses got shown and now we're writing an offer. And then you're like, okay, like that's pretty cool. Like I still went to the things I needed to do to keep my family together.
Yeah.
And those houses still got shown and we still put a deal together. And then all of a sudden it's Sunday morning church and like, they want to go Sunday from 9 to 12. And that's when I go to church. And instead of saying, oh, I'm not going to church this Sunday, you could say, hey, I'm going to have you go look with this person and give them $50 a home. And then it slowly starts. You're like, like now I can take a week vacation, or, oh, now I could never show homes on the weekend, or wait, now I'm never going to show homes in the evening. Or you just start getting more and more into it that you can finally look up and you're like, wait, maybe I never have to show homes again in my life.
Yeah.
And note, I still show homes here and there. So like when I get maybe an online lead, and I feel like I need to go still convert it a little bit better. Like I just went on one the other day. I needed to convert it a little bit better. Like I did the phone call with her, but I still wanted to see her in person. So I went to that one showing. showed that to her. And they can see when I talk to them how passionate I'm about helping them buy a house. And I explained my process there. And from there, then they can see it, they can feel it, and they can see my energy. And then from there, that was my one duty for like showing. And then now if they don't write an offer on that place, then the next day I'm like, hey, Nathan, go show them this house. So I'll still go show homes if I need to convert, or there's some past clients that I'm like, that's genuinely what I want to do that day. So Nathan will schedule all the showings so that I don't have to, but I'll just tell him, hey, text me when you're like 2 done. So if you're showing 6, text me. You know where I live, you know where the last 2 are. Just give me that time to get there. Just text me when you're 2 away. I'll pull up to that house. Like, I still don't want to use the lockbox when I get there. I don't want to schedule it. So I'll pull up sometimes and they'll look at 6. I'll show up to the last 2 and they'll look up and be like, oh, Chris is here. I don't even tell them. And I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to stop by and say hello. I'll go to that house. I'll drive to the next house and, caravan with them. We go to the last house. I'll have a conversation with them, fist pump them. I leave. I might not go on the next 6 tomorrow. So I still pick and choose. But I think the point is like, it's not saying it's not all in or all out. It's not, I never will show homes or I'm always going to show homes. It's just trying to structure something that you get to say, I want to go today because I genuinely want to be there today, not because I have to be there today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
That's awesome. So I have a question then. Do you, have you thought about providing Teslas for your showing agents? I save on gas and use the HOV lane.
I've totally thought about getting them company cars. I've talked to my insurance agency about it. But I am trying to think of the future. When gas was starting to go up, I was either going to start paying for their gas or get a company car. We're actually getting a car for my wife right now, a new one. I might keep her old car. We're not going to do it yet, but I might keep her car on the sidelines just for something that we have if we need to, because it's good on gas. But I'm already thinking of the future of like, yeah, I would love to have 5 showing partners and running it all through me. Mm-hmm. And because I still love working, I just can't go do everything in the day. And so that's what I could totally see that happening in the future.
Yeah. So how many do you have then? You have the 2 or just 1?
No. So 2 went down to 1 because I had kind of a west side person, east side person. And my west side person actually ended up turning into, after about 6 months, into my like personal assistant. She does like my podcast. She does my like marketing, my email marketing, a lot of things for me that my transaction coordinator just couldn't do anymore. So I transitioned her there. So I have 1 showing partner, and that worked best because he's super hungry. He's like at that stage in life where like he wants to make a few hundred G's. So I realized I was trying to separate them east side, west side just to help them out. Mm-hmm. And just to like, but he's a game on guy. Like, put me out there all day. I don't care what side of town it is, as long as it's in Maricopa County, and let me close deals. So it's down to 1 now.
Yeah, I'm sure the agents are wondering. I mean, to pay someone $32,000 or even 2 people $32,000 plus the 10%. I mean, the 10% of course is easy, but the 32, they're thinking, how am I going to pay that? Especially when they're not starting. But like, where are you getting your leads from? And
Good question.
Yeah, so it's still there's 3 avenues we had up until probably about 3 months ago. So it's repeat and referrals. That's always been like beautiful for us. I'm so thankful for my clients. Like, I get text messages almost every probably 2 days of somebody referring me a buyer or a seller. I still get chills and goosebumps when they refer me business because I know how much they went out of their way to refer me out of the 60,000 realtors. Mm-hmm. That's where I get a bulk of my business, is repeat and referrals. We have systems in place to keep up and market and things like that. Our second avenue of business was our Zillow account. We were one of like the 75 agents that had that Flex account. And then pay-per-click was our third. The Flex account died down a lot. So I don't even put that in really my business plan for next year. Mm-hmm. Our pay-per-click is just money right now. Like, this week I put a 925 under contract, a 725, I think. A 275, wrote an offer yesterday for a 1.4. Those are all pay-per-clicks that I'm spitting out. That's not even our repeat and referrals. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So that can be a very lucrative game that I mention often to realtors, but I don't think everyone feels the same way as I do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm like, hey, makes a ton of coin. That's for sure. And you meet the coolest clients off of it. Yeah. You meet 97 people out of 100 that don't answer your call, but those 3 that do and want your services, they're some of my friends now. Like, for example, Siva, I've helped buy 12 or 14 properties in 14 months since I met him, pay-per-click lead. Like, I remember being by my pool and taking that call. He's bought 14 properties from me.
Wow.
Yeah. He's one of my top 6 friends right now. Go to lunch with him, hang out with him. He's like an 80-something-year-old dude from Sri Lanka and buys investment properties. And me and him are just like, we're homies. Like we go eat together, we go hang out, and it's just cool that you meet these coolest people.
Yeah.
So do you mind sharing what types of hooks or what you're using online to get the pay-per-click?
That's just lead coming into the website. So we advertise in certain areas, meaning like it's just people Googling like Desert Ridge homes for sale or Phoenix homes with pools or, North Phoenix, it's really just what they're Googling. I mean, I have someone who set it up for me. It's not super expensive, but I had them set it up for me and leads come to the door. We've spent I started with probably a $1,500 marketing budget on that. I've been up to before $11,000 a month marketing budget. I'm at, I think about a $6,000 right now. So that brings us in, I think, about 12 leads a day on a $6,000 budget. And it used to be my job to follow up with those people. I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, Dave, that guy that I met who helped me build the showing partner model, he was like, hey, you need an ISA, an inside sales agent. And I knocked that one out of the park, thankfully. Like he helped me. And that's been beautiful because these 3 that I just mentioned that were pay-per-click this week that were high dollars, those were all just leads over the last 2 weeks that she called. She calls them, tees them up. I get on the phone with them. She just tees it up to an appointment. I get on the phone, do the appointment. Then we decide doesn't need to go to a buyer consultation. If it goes to the buyer consultation, we do that. Then it goes to Nathan, my showing partner, goes under contract, goes to Christy, my transaction coordinator. We close the deal. It's an assembly line. It's an assembly line that has so much heart in it, so much passion, and so much concern over that assembly line. So when I say assembly line, people can get like, running an assembly. I'm like, no, this is an assembly line we all have roles. We all love our clients. We all know what we're good at, what we're not good at. We pick up pieces for each other when we're out of town. And so like, it's just not an assembly line that's like, get them through. It's an assembly line with a lot of love, a lot of heart, a lot of consultations, more and more consultations. I feel like I'm having more and more phone calls with buyers, more and more phone calls with sellers. And so I like to stay in that role of realtor, consultations, kind of counselor right now, a little bit, so I love having conversations with my clients about the high picture level stuff, like the high level stuff. And then some of the stuff that needs to be done today, that's just for my team to do.
Yeah. And your whole team, local, ISA, kind of local.
Yeah. So Christy's my transaction coordinator, works from home. Becca's my ISA, works from home. Kylie works in an office that we have for her. She's like my personal assistant. And then I work from home. Okay. My showing partner works from home.
Okay. So the ISA isn't like international or anything. They're just here.
No, I've seen a lot of people pull that off. I wasn't smart enough. So I just was referred to somebody who already was working for a team that got let go. And I took her in and
kind of
pay
trained her.
I pay her by the hour and then on the back end a commission. So kind of the same thing. I pay her $17 an hour. She works 4 hours a day, calls leads. And then if she's attached to that deal, then she gets 10%. So you can see where if there's an ISA and a showing partner on there, that's already 20% of the commission going out to people. And then I have a cost of sell. So like it might have cost me 2 G's to actually really acquire that business. So I might have, 5 G's attached, 6 G's attached to that. But if 15, 16 comes to the door, that's 10 for the company. And, I think some people look at that and they're like, well, that's a lot of money to give away from a transaction. I'm like, well, think of how many more transactions you can do, one, or if you don't even want to do more transactions, maybe make a little bit less money, but go enjoy all your daily activities that you were used to doing.
Yeah.
Or
new activities that they haven't been doing.
I think it's just, and it's not for everybody. Like some people want to they just want to do the whole transaction. I'm like, super cool. Like, I think that's the best position to be in your real estate career is just when you know what you want to do and you do it. Like this, you got into this business to like probably afford the life you wanted. So I talked to an agent yesterday. She's like, hey, I just want to do 24 deals a year. And I'm like, cool. Like you said that confidently, like just get your 24. Like your goal doesn't have to be someone else's goal. Like, why do you want the 24? And she's like, well, I still want to raise my 3 kids that are young. I still need to pick them up from school and I still want to go to activities. And I'm like, and she's like, my husband makes a lot of money. And I'm like, so you want 24? And she's like, I'm like, go close 24. Like no one said you needed to close 60. If you want to close 20, if you want to close 5, like as long as you say like, that's what I want, you got it. Cool. But if you want more and you're not getting it, that's the one I would question is like, why are you not getting it? Not the one who says I want this and they crushed it.
Yeah, I think a lot of agents are probably thinking, gosh, he just mentioned, let's see, one, two, three, at least 5 people involved, right? So they're thinking, gosh, now I'm managing people, right? Did you have to go through a certain number of people to find the right ISA and transaction coordinator or any of that? Or
I've been super fortunate enough in that I haven't had turnover in those roles. Like my transaction coordinator has been with me for, I think, 3.5 years. And she's evolved because she was just my transaction coordinator before I actually went to this many transactions. So I think I was doing probably like 60 when I hired her. So I think that's more to prove the point that like that person has scaled us up, because I couldn't have did that. But she went from doing 60-ish transactions to not only doing that many transactions, but then we bought 20 rental properties in there and she property managed those for me. So her roles kind of changed a little bit. She's got 2 jobs. So she worked, and that's great. She's a huge blessing. And then Kylie was my showing partner that I turned into like my personal assistant. She's a blessing. And then Nathan, he's worked well. And so no, we haven't had our ISA's been with us for a while now, not long time, but probably about a month and a half, but it's already put 4 transactions to the door. So it's working. You are a manager of people. And I mean, but you got to pick your challenge in the day. It's how do I go close 60 transactions on my own?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you close 150 or 200 with some people?
Yeah.
I've always just kind of looked at the day as, what challenge am I solving today? Like there's never not a challenge. It's, hey, I don't have enough time to show these buyers, or I'm not getting enough listings, or I don't have enough clients, or I have too many clients, or I have so many clients and so much money, but I don't have any personal time. I really think every day we're just waking up with a huge challenge. It's just, some are, we don't have enough business. And sometimes it's like we have too much business and we still have a life. And I think you just have to sit back and think like, don't look for a life with no challenges. Look for a life where like you actually wake up every day with challenges and you just solve them. They're just different challenges. And every day I go into my office, we have a problem. It's just, is it like, I look at it like, to me, I look at it like, what kind of problem is it? Is it a people problem? Do we have enough leads? Is it a financial problem? But I don't feel like we'll ever, if you own a business, you're usually not dealing with challenges. Mm-hmm. It's just how you handle them, how you react to them, how you pivot quickly, how you treat people while you're going through those challenges is my biggest thing I've worked on. So, but yeah, I mean, it's you're managing mm-hmm. people. You got to have a little bit of systems in place, some spreadsheets, some tracking, and then just do the best you can and be okay with that. Or be okay with failing forward. If it doesn't work, just try again.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, dude, that's an amazing model.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm just curious. So right now, a lot of agents are struggling, with the market the way it is.
Market changing.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, how has your business been? I mean, it sounds like it's crazy right now.
It is. It's still going well, and the things feel slower. But I always wonder, like, just because it feels slower doesn't mean that's actually financially going slower. Mm-hmm. Like just because a house takes longer to close, if you still got the listing and it just takes 3 months longer to sell it, like that doesn't change your life, right? That's just slower, just not having to deal with 20 offers in one weekend. Mm-hmm. Buyers are still there. They might take a little longer because they have some more options. Yep. So I think everything's just been slower, but I always just look at things like, we have spreadsheets and says, how many clients did we take in? Mm-hmm. And we have other ones, but like my biggest metric is like the lead lag measures. I want to know how many people signed up with us, say, to buy a house. How many people signed up with us to list their house? It takes 3 months to sell a house now, or it takes a month to find a buyer a home. That's never been my problem. Like I always just look like, do I have clients to work with, and how many, and how long it takes might mean that's why I have these people helping me. Because if you're always focused on bringing in new clients. For example, last year, you had no problem finding buyers because the interest rate was so low, right?
Yeah.
But you actually had kind of a logistical clog in your business system because you couldn't get buyers off the books. Now, as I say that, I don't want to act like a buyer, they're a person, right? But like as a business, almost everyone was qualified to buy a home. Mm-hmm. Like interest rates are so low, there were so many buyers, right? So you would get a new buyer, and the next day get a new buyer, and the next day get a new buyer. Well, you had 9 buyers, and then you had to show them forever because you had to write 90 offers to get one.
Yep.
That was a challenge. Now it's like we don't have that challenge anymore. It's like when you get a buyer, now you just got to have conversations on like, how are we going to get this house? And You might show them longer because they have more options, but we're just super focused on, are we getting new clients every day? Never the market. Are we getting new clients? And so, no, our business it's not slowing down as far as like financially, it's slowing down as just the whole market, but I'm cool with that as long as everything works out internally. And yeah, so, but we're also very focused on like leads have to be coming through your door. Like that is a huge part. Like leads have to come through our door, whether it's repeat business, referral business, online business, having an account with whoever, Zillow or realtor.com or something. Like you have to have fresh new people every day coming through. You have to have conversations with them, find the people who want to buy or sell. And you just can't wake up every day and think, oh, I wish I was closing more real estate transactions, but not putting any type of pedal to the metal on lead generation coming to the door. And that's sometimes where people can get to. Like I said, I talk to a lot of realtors. There's no judgment in the statement. It's just business is slow. And I'm like, what are we doing? Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's probably a slow business. I would guess that any business that said they're doing nothing to get activity through their door would be a slow business.
Yeah.
But for 2 years, 3 years, we were just being thrown so much business that I think now we're going to finally start seeing, I think we're going to probably see 20,000 realtors exit the market. Like they're not, we were order takers for so long. We want to get in this house now. We want to get here now. It's like so order taking. Now I think we're going to go back to skills. And I think 20,000 agents are probably going to be gone from this real estate industry. They just realize like they're just taking orders. They didn't know how to actually talk to clients, consult them, do a listing presentation, talk about the market actually possibly going down and how do we price correctly in a down market. Buyers are fearful of where the market's going. Having those conversations on loans and the power of home ownership so that they really understand that, yeah, it is more expensive to buy a home than it was 6 months ago, but also waking up at 65 and renting is probably not going to be that cool either, because my rent on my property that I charge people keeps going up. And so I'm probably going to be charging 4 times the amount in 20 years. So even though, yeah, it feels like you're paying $300 or $400 more a month now for a home than you would 6 months ago, imagine what that's going to be like in 10 years when you're still renting a property. That's going to not feel good because your job is not paying you. It's not keeping up with the inflation of what's going on. So like you're eventually going to have no discretionary income to spend. It's just all going to go to living, and that's going to be weird.
Yeah. I think I read something the other day that said it was like 200,000 people got a real estate license over the last 2 years or 2.5 years. Like
in the country?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Because our
massive number
skyrocketed.
But now they're also projecting that 25% of them probably will not be in the business in the next 24 months.
Yeah, those 200 will probably be gone, one. And then another, few 100,000 probably that were in the game probably are gone. Like I think it's going to go to I say this positively, from a business standpoint, like our goal is to take market share. How many, we still got to look at how many transactions are going on a month, but like as a business owner, it's market share. So as 20,000 agents leave the market, that means there's a lot of referrals that now got detached from those people. Like over the last 2 years, when everyone got their license, there was some people that were going to work and saying they wanted to buy a house. And I wasn't getting that referral anymore because someone there knew their cousin now that just got their license.
Right.
So now as all those people leave, those referrals now start coming back to the people who have probably been in the business, stayed in the business, and love this business. And we're going to get those referrals again. So I don't know. Like I look at things in very an inwardly state of mind where it's just like, to get where we want to go next year is going to be, like I told my wife this morning when we were talking, I said, next year is going to be an inside job. And she's like, what does that mean? I said, this is going to be about me running a company and staying good, even kill, no matter what's going on with the curveballs being thrown at us in the market. Because next year, I feel like we're going to get thrown some more curveballs as realtors in the market. And if we just wake up every day, no emotion, like if we're closing a lot of deals, you just got to get into your office and do your job. If you're closing not a lot of deals, you just got to get into the office and do your job. And I feel like this is going to be an inside job going into the next year. Like you've got to figure out how to emotionally be prepared for it, how to have your day structured that you don't ride these highs and lows off what the market's telling us. And you just know that the only thing to get out of anxiety is action. And if you have any anxiety about anytime you're sitting back and you're like, I'm having anxiety, do something.
Yeah.
Like call some people, do something, do some push-ups. Like you get rid of it real quickly when you start just doing something about it. And I think that's what we're going to go into. But to go back to your point, man, is that, I think we're going to see a lot of people leave. They're going to leave, or we're going to see a lot leave, I think. And then a lot of people that kind of want to leave, but don't want to leave, start working for people like myself that know how to go get the leads. And they now want to be my showing partner. So I'll give them a job. They might not like, it might not have been what they were really wanting to do, but like, they're going to still get a paycheck and they're still going to get 10% on the back end. They're just going to be working for someone who knows how to ultimately bring in the business and run a company.
Absolutely. No, sounds great. Sounds awesome. Appreciate you being in here, man, sharing that.
Yes.
So you always have a lot of knowledge to share when you come in.
Yep.
Well, I feel like when I leave, I was just like, I don't know if I was the only one who talked or not, but I feel like you can ask me one question and I could go 2 hours. So I'm like, there's sometimes where I'm like, I don't know, I should probably let them ask a follow-up.
Oh, that makes the podcast more interesting.
I feel like I'm just going on my soapbox for an hour.
Well, speaking of podcasts, you said you have a podcast now too?
I do.
So what do you, what's your podcast?
It's AgentXcel. So agent, the letter XCEL. AgentXcel by Chris Bowers. And yeah, I bring on someone every single Wednesday. I interview someone, drop it every Wednesday, and it's a fun project. I actually do it selfishly to learn. So I'll just pick people in certain markets where I'm like, oh, I want to learn more about that. And I know they're good at it. I bring them on the podcast. They get to share their journey, which is great because they get to release it to their network. Always looks cool, right?
Yeah.
I get to release it to my followers. I got a lot of people who follow me, so I'm hooking them up and I get to learn. So I bring on people who were talking about, farming or pay-per-click or the showing partner model. And I selfishly just sit there and take notes. And I'm like, cool, I was already going to probably call you and talk to you about this to grow my company. So why don't we just record it, let the world hear it, and it works out. So it's pretty fun. I like doing it.
Yeah. So is it a lot of EXP agents then, since you're in that network?
Nope. I actually more outside of that network just because, I just want anybody who wants to get on, like I'll actually follow up. I get some people who inquire to be on it. And then I just reach out. Like I really just genuinely reach out to people. I'll be on social media and be like, oh, I want to hear more about what he's doing. And then I'll just message them and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you more. I have a podcast. Instead of just calling you for 45 minutes, us talking, let's just push record, solve a lot of things. Have forever content that's out there that could be beneficial to everybody. So let's do it. And most people say yes. So
yeah,
I enjoy it.
That's good.
No, that's great. So before we go to the next segment, anything else you want to make sure the agents know or are prepared for going forward, or what are your thoughts?
I just think come into the office daily and start like being lead generation mindset again. And I know that can sound so cliche, but like you have to be doing something daily to get leads to come to the door. And then the next thing is, just figure out what that is. Are you an open house person? Are you a farming person? Are you an online lead person? Are you a go knock door person? Are you a cold call person? Like do you want to make a commercial? Do you want a billboard? Some of those you could say are drastic and too expensive, but like, I think it's cool when you write down, these are about the only 8 ways I can get business. And just, you've got to pick 1, 2, or 3. And I'd probably just pick 1 or 2, get really, really good at them. Once you do, figure out how to get some leverage in your life, and then go to the next one. But I don't do everything. I see a lot of that. Like I'm just really bad at a lot of things,
Yeah.
Or they're like only in one that when it goes away, for example, like if we would have only relied on our Zillow Flex account, we'd have been in trouble. When that kind of went away and dried up, I looked at that like, game on. I can do it another way. It didn't really hurt us. But I would say like coming into the office daily and just not just doing your deals. Like I feel like we come in, I'm talking to myself as I say this. We come in and it's like, oh, I worked on that inspection. I worked on that Benzer. I talked to that client about the appraisal. We're going to go look at that house tonight. Good. And I'm like, no, like that's good. Like to get your check to actually close.
Yeah.
But like, where is the next 30 days after that? Like you got to do something today. Like there's going to be some activity today that your 45, 60-year-old future self is going to be proud of. And so that's where it's at. But like, I feel like and I do this, I'm talking to myself as I say it, like we just come in, it's like, I did that, and that. And that was all the transactions we do, but it's actually doing stuff that your reputation's not on the line. Like you've got to do this stuff because your business is going to need it in 60 days. And that's what I think people need to focus on more than ever.
I love when you said, when you feel anxiety, do something.
Yeah.
Do some push-ups, Yeah, no, that's great advice. I'm flipping houses and I have a lot of anxiety. Now I'm going in and actually working on them. And after I'm done working on them, I'm like, that actually felt good.
It does. It gets that way. I have anxiety too, like anybody else. And I've always noticed that when I'm thinking about a problem is when I'm getting, like, I've always thought, when do I have it? And it's always when I'm thinking about a problem.
Yeah.
And I thought there's no action being done by thinking about this problem. Like there's nothing, like nothing's going on here. Like I'm just thinking about a problem, even if it's for 5 minutes or 35 minutes. So instantly if I ever have that now, it's processed so much faster. So it goes from problem coming into my head, anxiety being created, and just stop. And it's instantly, what's the one thing that you know you could do right now that would change that? So if it was my like weight, it would be like, go to the gym. If it was like, I need more clients, it'd be, hey, just go into the office. Calling 10 people would probably be better there than sitting about, I need to, like, thinking about calling 10 people.
Yeah.
Like you can just get wrapped up in this loop that anxiety then goes into, usually, like, if anxiety happens over and over, it usually goes into like a depression. Not saying that people are depressed. I think you can be for like little seasons or days,
Sure.
or an hour of your life. And I think it's all just stopped right there when you just squash it. And you're like, I'm only going to get out of this by action. Thinking about this problem any longer is just internal turmoil. And there's nothing to solve it. And I feel like even if you don't accomplish it, trying to solve it even makes you feel better. Even if you didn't actually get to the result you wanted, knowing that you were trying and not just thinking about it makes you feel so empowered.
No, that's great.
Powerful stuff.
You know, I do have one more question before we move on. With your pay-per-click, right?
Yeah.
So you've got a home search basically, right? What is the process, or what are they getting to? A landing page? I mean, are they filling out name, email, phone number? I mean, what are they doing there?
So what we do that we think works well is whatever they're Googling, right? Let's say like Desert Ridge homes for sale. Let's say Desert Ridge homes for sale with pools. Let's be specific. When they search that, we want it to be, it's one of the ads at the top. When they click on that, we want it to go directly on a landing page that is Desert Ridge homes for sale with pools. Because if they go onto our website and then got to research that, they're out.
Yeah.
If you have any friction in your process, they're out. So if they just landed on a regular landing page that was like every home and they got to search that again, done. We try to take them from what did they search to when they click on that ad, they landed specifically on those homes. And so you're seeing probably the 12 homes right now that are in Desert Ridge that have pools. And then they click on one of them, and we're very much the first click. It's pop up, name, number, email. And it takes us about, I think it's costing us like $1 to get people from Google to our site. And it's taking about 13 people that come to our site to put in their information. So to get them from Google to our site, it's like $1 something. And then we got to get 13 people to our site to actually click. Like they're probably seeing that 13 people and then they leave. Well, one fills it out. So our cost of leads about $13.
Yeah.
And then you figure out how to run a business through that. So that's how they're finding us, is we want to make the friction so low that when whatever they search, they go to. And then when we call them back, when we do call them back, we can see on our back end what they searched. So we can speak exactly their language. Because some people are going to put, in like 85304 homes for sale with pool, or they're going to put in Desert Ridge homes for sale with pool. We speak their language. So when we call them, we're like, hey, we saw that you were looking in 85014 and you're looking for a home with a pool. Were you just looking for fun, or do you have plans on moving in the future? Like we speak exactly what they said, because that's how their mind thinks of that area.
Yeah.
So if someone might know a zip code and not know the actual name of the neighborhood. So we never want to like just do what we think. We're talking directdirectly to them on what their mind thinks. And that's how we go for it. So then when we follow up with them, if they don't answer, it's like a text that says, hey, you were looking at 85014 homes for sale. How can we help? Or you were looking at Awatuki homes for sale on a corner lot. Like you're just like you're lasered into exactly what they were searching for.
Yeah. So have you tested the view one property and then a pop-up versus 2 or 3 or 5 or what have you?
I haven't, but many people that I mastermind with have. So I just go off their data. I've heard through their research, not my own, that usually doesn't work well. You usually find out it takes more people to convert. So I just went with what they did. And I kind of look at it that way. It's just like, I'm actually paying for this. So I really need to figure out how to get your number out the gate. And if you don't, because they might just click on one property that they love And then when they love that property, they then go to Zillow or somewhere else and do whatever.
That's true.
I just really want to make sure like, hey, I'm paying for this business. The first one you click on, whether you like it or not, you got to put in your information and bounce out if you don't. But that's just my model.
So they have to put in the information before they can even view anything about the first house that they click.
Yeah. So they see the list of homes and like, oh, cool. Like there's all the Desert Ridge homes for sale. And then they're scrolling through, they find one where the picture's sexy. They click on that one and boom, right there, a pop up. And it just says name, number, email address. I think they're all required if I'm not mistaken. And then, out of 13 people that see that, one puts their name in and then that person gets followed up now by our ISA.
Yeah. What platform are you using for that?
Real Geeks.
Oh, okay.
I use Real Geeks for that.
All right.
It works well.
And does KV Core do something similar or no? Because I know that's an EXP thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. My thing is just no matter where I go brokerage wise, I always just try to keep my structure the same. I mean, I even know I think KV Core is free for us, but I'm like, we're dialed in. Learning a new system would just be a nightmare. So I'd rather pay the $250 a month and not deal with the behind the scenes complexities. But yeah, I think KV Core is free for, I should say included for EXP.
Included, included.
Never free, man. It's always included. Yeah. Oh, we get free food on the cruise. I'm like, nah, you get included food on the cruise price you pay.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Chris. Hey, thanks so much for coming in again. And big shout out to Rachel Turner for inviting you in here. Also shout out to the sponsors, Security Title Agency and Fidelity National Home Warranty. And are you ready to get in the ring? Answer a few rapid fire for us.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Podcasts or YouTube videos?
Podcast or YouTube videos that I listen to?
Which do you prefer?
Oh, totally podcast. I'm in my car all the time. I'm always podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Pizza or cheeseburgers?
Pizza.
All right. How about your favorite activity outside of work?
That's a good question. Traveling. It's probably
that's what I was thinking. Oh man, I bet I know the answer to this.
I work until I can travel. Hiking when I can with my brother. He lives very close to me, so I love hiking with him. And then just hanging out with my wife a lot.
Yeah. Awesome. How about would you rather drive an electric car or a gas car?
Gas car.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
Hopefully I don't get canceled, but I like.
How about and final question? How about favorite vacation destination?
I'd have to say
so many.
Huntington Beach. I think Huntington Beach. That was my. Yeah, it's always been my quickest 3-day stop where I could just go quickly. The weather's nice. The area's clean. I love it. That's been my jam for probably 2.5, 3 years. Just a quick getaway.
Okay.
Now quick getaways where I don't have to figure out how to show homes.
Yeah. Is there surfing over there or no?
There is. I've tried twice. I've taken lessons. The last time I went, I stopped doing it. I realized when you put that wetsuit on, you can get insecure quickly. I felt like I was 400 pounds with a sweatsuit on and it's so tight. And I finally was like, if I ever have to put that on again, I will not surf. I have not surfed since. I got so mad at it. I went back up to the beach with my instructor. I'm like, I'm done, dude. Took that thing off and was out. So yeah, there's
you
surfing.
You got to go where there's warmer water.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah. I was like, get an ab. I was like, I need to get an ab, lose some weight,
or two,
or just not surf. I picked not surfing.
That's so funny. Well, Chris, thanks so much again, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Always a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate you being in here. And we'll have to have you back again
absolutely
after the new year and kind of let us know what your team is doing going into this 2023.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Sound good? All right. Hey, agents, until next time, we will see you later.
Adios.
Take care.
Bye, y'all.
All right.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.